He ran quickly back through the bushes and began picking blackberries by the handful. But just then, a torrential downpour suddenly began. To avoid catching a cold, he had to stop picking blackberries and run back to camp to take shelter from the rain. Before finding shelter, he emptied every bottle he could find and placed them on the ground to collect rainwater. Since the rainwater was much cleaner than the water from the lake, he wouldn't have to bother boiling it. Once everything was ready, he crawled into the hollow tree and waited quietly for the rain to stop. But the rain continued well into the night, by which time all the bottles were full of water. Just as he was about to put the bottles away, he looked up toward the mountaintop and suddenly remembered something. He immediately grabbed some strips of plastic and headed into the mountains. After walking a while, he tied the strips of plastic to the trees so he could find his way back. Before long, he reached the mountaintop and, sure enough, he spotted a light on a distant mountain. That meant there were people living in that direction. Hope instantly returned to his eyes. After a good night's sleep, he woke up early the next morning and gathered his belongings. He packed everything useful into his backpack and set off with long, energetic strides. He left markers along the way, but after walking for a while, he suddenly noticed a trail of fresh footprints on the ground. Could there be someone else around? He got excited and followed the footprints. But before long, he spotted one of his own markings on a tree. Only then did he realize that those footprints were, in fact, his own. Damn it, that meant he was lost. After drinking some rainwater to calm his nerves, he returned to camp to come up with a new plan. He found a needle and magnetized it using the magnet in his watch. Once the needle was magnetized, he inserted it into an earbud and then placed it in a water bottle. And just like that, he had a makeshift compass ready. After confirming the correct direction, he set off once again. He had no idea how long he'd been walking. His body was completely exhausted, and his heavy backpack had become his greatest burden. So, as he walked, he began to get rid of things, keeping only the bare essentials. She even threw away the cash she no longer needed. Without that extra weight, her steps felt much lighter. But before long, she witnessed a terrifying scene. The money she had thrown away suddenly reappeared before her. Only then did she realize that she had been going in circles in the mountains the whole time. Terrified, she pulled out her compass, only to discover that the needle had lost its magnetism. To make matters worse, she hadn't brought a watch with her when she set out. This meant she was truly trapped. Just as despair began to take hold of her, she suddenly heard a noise behind her. Fearing it was a wild animal, she hurriedly climbed a tree. But halfway up, a branch suddenly snapped, leaving her hanging upside down in midair. At that moment, the source of the noise appeared. It turned out to be nothing more than a little raccoon. Her nerves on edge finally relaxed. Exhausted, she collapsed at the foot of the tree and soon fell asleep. Suddenly, the sound of an engine startled her awake. She looked up and saw a helicopter flying overhead. She screamed for help and tried to reflect the sunlight with a small mirror. In a panic, she didn't watch her step. Her foot slipped, and she fell straight into a cave. Fortunately, the fall didn't cost her her life, but her lower body was trapped under a huge rock, and she had suffered a serious head injury. Without immediate medical attention, her life would be in grave danger, but there was no one nearby to help her. If she wanted to survive, she would have to fend for herself. She found a scarf in her backpack